You've probably seen things like this around on lakes, rivers. If you've ever wondered what these are, my friend, this is called cage fish farming. And today we are in Busuya village to visit Kachotela Aquatics International is going to take us through the A to Z of cage fish farming.
Aquatics International is a fish farming or aquaculture consultancy company, and among the services that we provide is site feasibility studies. If you want to start a fish farm, we can guide you from the beginning and we can take you until in the whole process. We can train you, we can train your workers, we can help you in acquiring permits on the lake. If you're interested in cage fish farming, we do hatcheries, we do production plans and farm designs for the hatcheries, and also we train small scale fish farmers. This is the most interesting part when it comes to our services. When you look at Uganda, small-scale fish farmers, actually they do a lot or they contribute a lot when it comes to our fish farming statistics. And sometimes they're left behind and they're not well guided and on how to do the operation. We are much into small-scale fish farmers and we guide them on how to do fish farming, and also we train them on how to do fish farming in a more sustainable way. What inspired me to start Kachotela Aquatics International, actually it's something to do with small-scale fish farmers. I remember when I was still at Makerere University doing my undergraduate Bachelor's of Science in Fisheries and Aquaculture, I did one internship at a certain fish farm because the situations and the conditions there were really not conducive and favorable to break even and also to compete in aquaculture field. All this ran through my mind and I had to think deep on how can I help these fish farmers, the small-scale ones, and how can my services really impact on them. So it's from there that I thought about starting Kachotela Aquatics International. That was in 2017, and we started slowly by training some small fish farmers, visiting them and advising them on how to do fish farming. Then in 2022, it's when I fully registered this company, and we are fully operating in Uganda, though we have partners in other countries that we work with, and we've been in countries like Kenya, we've been in Ivory Coast on some project for the government. Let me take you through all our processes, starting from the hatchery, nursery, and finally on the grow out of how we do our processes here. And also at the end, I'll take you to our fish shops and you see how our fish look like and how we sell it to our customers. After the 21 days, these fish will have all been converted into the males. When you look at this fish farm, it's a commercial fish farm, and we are much interested into business and making sure that our fish grow very fast. And males, when it comes to tilapia, they grow very fast because much of their energy is converted into somatic growth or the muscle growth. And when you look at the females, they waste much of their energy into reproduction, producing eggs. So here, that's why we make sure that we aim at males which can be able to grow very fast, since they convert all the energy or the feed eaten into somatic growth. So that's why we do the sex reversal process, make sure that we have only a male population. Yeah, so when you see our sex reversal pond, right now you can see we have the brewers. If you look at the ponds, we have the brewers, we have the paddle wheel. All this is to make sure that we have good aeration in our ponds. The paddle wheel helps to dissolve the oxygen into the water, and the fish at any given moment, they have oxygen. And also we also supplement it with a blower, where every hopper has a pipe that is dissolving in air or oxygen into the hopper. Make sure that we can have the maximum survival rate in our fingerling, because that is the main issue here. If we have, or if we maximize our survival rate, then it's really good in our production. And also another thing, because the major things that affect the fry survival, it is water quality. When there is less oxygen, when the pH is really not to the required optimum, when the ammonia is really high, those are the factors that affect the fry survival. So here we try our best, we make sure that oxygen is not an issue, we supplement it, and our team, we have a good team of the feeders who are well trained in the feeding. You can see one of our feeders there, he's feeding our fish, he's well trained in feeding, and in this feeding, he's doing it very gently and feeding by response. And in the process of feeding by response, we are reducing the wasted feeds that go into the ponds, and they bring in the ammonia levels rising up. So that's how we try to make sure that our water quality is well maintained. Then another factor that affects our survival rate is the predators or the birds. If you look around, we have some of the kingfisher birds, and also we have the white egret. They also predate on our our swim up. So what we've tried to do, we are covering all our ponds with predator nets. You can see the pond there. We are covering it with the predator net to make sure that no bird can be able to pass in and eat our fish. So these are the strategies we are putting in place to have a very high survival rate in our hatchery. And I must tell you, that fish farmer that is out there, these strategies work, and you need to make sure that your survival rate in the fingerling is very high to be able to run very well your hatchery. Otherwise, when the survival rate is very low, you cannot be able to run very well your hatchery. Basically, when we stock our fingerlings or our swim ups into the happers, we need to feed them. I've already told you which feed we feed them, where we get our powder, we mix it with 17 alpha methyltestosterone hormone for the sex reversal process. So when we are done with all the mixing and the feed is ready, this is the feeding. So this is one of our feeders. What we did, we made like a floater where this feeder can be able to sit on, and he can access all the side of the happers, feed the fish. This is very important because when you don't be able to access all the fish at any given corner, you will have size variations in the fish, and which will affect your fry quality. So you can see now he's feeding the fish. He can be able to move on the boat or on the floater and reach every corner of the hopper, and this helps to reduce the size variations in the fish. Then you can see our hoppers. We have like two types of the hoppers. When you see this hopper, this is a 20 SPI hopper mesh. It's like 1 by 1 millimeter mesh. This is where we stock our fry. In this hopper, the fry cannot be able to get out because the mesh size is very small for the swim up fry to get out. But the only challenge that happens here, this hopper can be able to clog very fast. So what we do, like after every week, we do the hopper swapping of the net to make sure that the new hopper that we put in, there is water exchange and there is fresh water that is coming in the hopper. Then after, when we are done with the sex reversal, because the sex reversal takes 21 days, then after the sex reversal, we do the counting of the fish. We count them. Usually we stock 75,000 in each hopper. So if in a pond we put in 10 hoppers, so that is around 750,000 in a pond of around 600 meter squared area. So after the sex reversal process, we count the fish to see if we stocked 75,000 fish, how many are we able to get out. So in that process, we can be able to know what is our survival rate, or to grade ourselves and see if we are meeting our key performance indicators. Then after, we transfer them into the post-sex reversal hopper. This is our post-sex reversal hopper. If you cannot sit very well, the mesh size is a bit big. It's actually 4 millimeter full mesh. So in this one, the fish have already grown at least big in size, and now they can get more fresh water, and also they cannot be able to escape out of the hopper. Yeah, so basically that's what we do here. All this hatchery you're seeing, it runs on power full time. We must have electricity full time. And one of the challenges that many hatcheries face, including us, is power shortages. So that's why we had to get generators. We have 2 generators, 50 kVi each, to be able to support all these processes around and all these machines around. For example, the blower, the paddle wheel, and also the water pumping in the ponds. Power shortage is also a very big challenge when it comes to running a hatchery. So whoever that is out there and you're planning to start a hatchery, you need to really focus on how you're going to make sure that at any given moment you have power at your hatchery. So with this predator net in place, we can be able to achieve a higher survival rate. So we are doing this, and very soon all the ponds will be covered with predator nets. Because before, our survival was getting down, and we had to get a solution on how to solve this. This is 2 meters by 10 meters, so it is actually 20 meters squared, the area. So we stock in 75,000 fish, and we do the sex reversal for 21 days. After the sex reversal of 21 days, we count them, and then we transfer them into the post-sex reversal hoppers. These are the post-sex reversal hoppers. So in these post-sex reversal hoppers, we stock 50,000 fish. It's the same area, 20 meters squared. So here they will spend 1.5 months, and in 1.5 months, they will be ready for transferring to the nursery. And by that time, they are 1.5 grams ready to be transferred to the nursery. And during the transferring to the nursery, these are the white tanks that we use. We use these white tanks. It can hold 1,000 liters of water. It's 1 cubic meter. It's where we stock in our swim up. Actually, it's where we stock in our fingerlings that are ready to be stocked to the deck. And we load these containers on a tuk-tuk or on a vehicle. We put on oxygen, we put in salt, make sure that it can can prevent the wounds on the fish if they are damaged during the transferring process. Then after, we transfer them to the lake on the nursery cages. At any given moment, if you're feeding the fish, you will have some ammonia in the pond. But the required level, or the level that is optimum, is 0.02 milligrams per liter. Like you see, this guy who is feeding. During the feeding, we make sure that feeds the fish by response. Because this feed, when they are not fed by response and that they are not eaten, they sink down into the water. When they sink down into the water, they are the ones that produce the ammonia that affect our water quality. So first, we make sure that we feed by response to reduce the waste overfeeds not eaten by the fish. Then secondly, if there is ammonia in the pond, what we do, I think I showed you, we have a flow-through water system in our hatchery. Water is entering in as water is getting out. This fresh water is entering and the wastewater that has the high ammonia content is getting out of the system. So that's how we are able to maintain our ammonia levels at a required level or at the minimum, and also having a good water quality system in our hatchery to make sure that we have a high survival rate in our fingerlings. So these are our ponds. Like I told you, we have many predators around. So we have snakes, we have frogs around that come and enter into the pond. So we make sure that we do good pond maintenance. This is someone who is thrashing, and as he's thrashing, there is someone holding something like a barrier. Make sure that the grass doesn't fall in water, because when the grass falls in water, it also affects the water quality. And also another thing, yeah, you can see the area is clean. If you keep it like this, it's clean and it's good pond maintenance around your operating area. Basically, what we are doing here, actually right now we are on our grow out cages. You can see the fish, they really have appetite. The appetite is really high, and you can see the response is really high. And these fish are around 300 grams, and we are feeding them using 4mm feed. This is the 4mm pellet. For the big fish, because the mouth gap is already big, so we feed them with 4mm feed. Unless like in the hatchery where the fish were still small, and we have to use powder and around 0.5mm. But for this big fish, we use 4mm feeds, and you can see the response is really high. For this cage, this is a 10-meter diameter cage, and it's around 78 meters squared, the area, and it's 6 meters deep. So in this cage we stock 50,000 fish, and they take 2 months after stocking when they are 70 grams. So after 2 months we do the sorting or the grading, and we separate them. Actually, we do the splitting into 50-50, 25,000, 25,000. So here then we give them another 1.5 months. Now they are ready for harvesting, around 450 grams. And this is the fish that you can see that we are selling to our people or to our shop. Yeah, you can see the response is still very high. When you see these cages are quite different. We call this an African cage, because these cages we make them here in Uganda. We just buy a pipe, we join them, then we attach drums to make sure that the cage can be able to float. Then this, it's a Chinese cage. We import these cages from China. All the parts that are there, we import them from China. Unfortunately, right now, these parts are not made from Uganda, so that's why we're still importing from China. But it is of the same size. It's a 10-meter diameter cage and 78 meter squared area of the cage. The stocking is still the same. Actually, our fish, we feed them on a very high nutritious meal. So basically, how our typical day starts here on our cages. We start by bringing feeders on their platforms and coming with their feeds. We know how much fish does each cage have, the biomass, and how much feed each cage is supposed to eat. So we have a system that runs all this. So after weighing and knowing how much the fish is supposed to eat, the feeder comes with the feeds. Then after reaching, before doing anything, they first assess and see how the cage is. If there is any mortality, they first correct all the fish mortalities, they count them, and they record it in the notebook, because this is very important. At the end of the day or at the end of the cycle, we need to know how much we stocked and how much we are able to die, and also how much did not die but is not seen or escape. That's how we can be able to assess ourselves and also improve on ourselves. So that is how a typical day starts. After collecting the mortalities, then they start the feeding. During the feeding, this is a very key or crucial activity. You can be able to assess the fish health. Are the fish really healthy? Are they coming to eat? If they are not coming to eat, then you need to start putting on question mark. Maybe the fish are sick, maybe the fish escaped, maybe something happened, and you need to assess. So the feeding is a very important activity when it comes to fish farming, and you have to get your feeders well trained and know what they are doing so that you can be able to benefit from it. Then after the feeding and assessing to see how the fish are, they make sure that the predator net is well stretched, nobody can pass through to eat the fish, and the feed barriers are well tied, no feeds are passing through. All those are the things they look into to make sure that the cage is well anchored and is well in place to be fed and to be in the press. Then after feeding, they can go away. Here on ground, we feed 2 times a day. We feed in the morning and then also we feed in the afternoon. That is enough for these big fish because they are almost ready for harvesting. So like I already told you, this is a Chinese cage. These are fully imported into the country, and this is an African cage. That's how we call them. This we make them here in Uganda. So the difference is these African cages, we use drums as floaters, and the pipes, actually this is a 90mm pipe, so we just connect it and put drums to make sure that can be able to float in water. Then how different is the Chinese from the African cage? The Chinese cage, it's made from an HDPE pipe. This is 210mm pipe, and it's able to float on water. It can actually sustain itself without attaching any drums to support it in floating. You can see no drum that is attached. It's just 2 pipes that are running around and connected with blankets, and also the pipes as the rails, supporting it to make sure that we can put in our predator net. Basically, that is the difference between these pipes. This Chinese cage is quite expensive compared to the African cage, but it is very durable. It can long last. You can take almost like 5 years without doing any repairment, facing any damages. But for the African cage, it will require you to always change drums, and also sometimes you can find maybe the pipe has got some curve and you need to check it and rectify it, which is a different case from the Chinese cage because these ones are well supported and they are durable and they can long last, and there is less repairment and maintenance involved. Thank you. So this is our nursery section. When the fingerlings are ready, they are 1.5 grams. We transfer them from the hatchery directly to the nursery. So these are our nursery cages. You can see the fish. The appetite is good. The feeding is moving on well. You can see the feed. For the nursery fish, they are still small. So we feed them on smaller pellets. For example, this is 1mm pellet feed, different from the ones we use in the hatchery. And also another thing, you also see the feeds on the grow out, the 4mm feeds we use on grow out, they're also bigger compared to the feeds here on the nursery. So as the fish grows bigger, also its mouth gap continues growing bigger. And as it grows bigger, you keep on also increasing on the feed size. So as you saw in the hatchery, we start with the powder on the sex reversal. As the fish keeps on growing, we go to 0.5mm. From 0.5mm, we go to 0.8mm. Then 1mm, 2mm, 3mm, until 4mm. Some people also go beyond and also use 5mm and 6mm for the very big fish. So as the fish grows bigger in size, we keep on adjusting the feeds and also increasing on the feeds. And also another thing, to avoid the size differences in the fish, what we do, sometimes we mix the feeds. For example, we mix 1mm with 2mm to make sure that if there is also a fish that is smaller, can feed on the 1mm and also grow and catch up, feed on the 2mm feeds. Then another thing, as I told you, predators everywhere. Also here we have birds. So you see, we designed these cages in a certain way that we put a floater in the middle so that we can be able to raise the predator net higher, so that whenever the bird sits on, cannot be able to assess the fish and eat the fish. This helps us to maintain the high survival rate of our fingerlings and also of our fish. Then another thing, cage maintenance. When the feeders come here, the first thing they do of their job description, they first remove mortalities, the dead fish. After removing the dead fish, they count them to to know how many are they put them in the record, they submit them. Then after, they arrange very well the predator nets, and also they are able to start the feeding. So that is the first thing to do. And also often, every week, we try to pull the nets and check to see if they have any damages, prevent any fish escapees into the water, and maintain our high survival rate. Basically, when we are talking about fish health, generally here at the fish farm, we don't have any of those big challenges when it comes to fish health. Usually, the challenges that we have is during the transferring, because there is too much handling that is involved, the fish have bruises on their skin. And when they have the bruises, these bruises continue and they create the cotton wool on the skin of the fish. The only way that we control this or we prevent this is to make sure that during our transferring and our fish handling, we reduce the time that we do the handling of the fish. And also secondly, we train our staff well enough to know how very well to handle the fish. For example, during the transferring from the hatchery to the nursery, we have to make sure that the fish are well in the oxygen tank, the tanks are well oxygenated. There is also salt to make sure that if there is any wound or any bruise on the fish, the salt can help to clear out the bruises that are on the skin. And also secondly, like here on the nursery, you can see one of our feeders. You can start. After collecting mortalities from one cage, we first disinfect very well our scoop in a salt water solution before taking the scoop to another cage. In this process, it helps to prevent any diseases to be transferred from one cage to another cage. So with all those processes in place, it helps to make sure that your fish are also safe. And also another thing, this predator net, they help to prevent the birds to come closer to our fish, because if you want to know, when one bird comes closer and it eats one fish, it will also, in the process, it has some worms, or it acts as a vector in transferring diseases from one place to another, because these birds are also going into other places. So in the process, when they come to eat on our fish, they're also transferring in diseases. So as we put in the predator nets, this also helps to transfer the diseases to our fish. And much to do with the water quality on the lake, it's not much controlled, because this is a natural water body. Water is always refreshing itself during strong winds, and so we don't do much controlling the water quality. The only thing that we do is we control our feeding to make sure that we reduce the waste feeds that go on the bottom of the lake and create eutrophication in the lake. As you know, one of our key performance indicators, or our KPIs, it's growth. And also, how can we be able to monitor our this KPI? So every 2 weeks we sample our fish, and as we sample our fish, we are able to know how are our fish growing. From the time we stocked them, after 2 weeks, how often are they growing? What is the specific growth rate? What is the average body weight? So we collect all that data and we keep it in our records. Then we also have softwares that we use to analyze this data. For example, we are using Aqua Manager. This is a very good software that helps us in analyzing the data, and also it's from this data that we base on to make certain decisions. That for example, if we want to harvest this fish, that data can help us to know that these fish now are big, are of this size, we can be able to harvest them. These fish are either of this size, we can be able to increase on the feeds. So data is very helpful in running a fish farm, and I encourage every fish farmer that is out there to rely and be able to collect data. And also another thing, much of the data that we do here at the farm is the water quality data. We do oxygen, temperature, and ammonia readings and pH, which we put in the system and also we record. So all these data, they help us to know, is the oxygen really good enough for us to start the feeding in the morning. If we see it's really not in the right range, then we inform our feeders not to do any feeding. So all this data help us in the fish farm, and they also help us detect very early if there is anything not moving on in the right way, so that we can prevent future catastrophes that would happen at our fish farm. When our fish are ready for harvesting, or when they are ready at the size that we want, then we drag our cage, we transfer it to the harvesting platform, where our team are ready and everything is in place to do the harvesting. So in this process, the client is on the press, then we have our harvesting containers in press with ice in them. Then we have a team that is responsible for the harvest. So we use a seine net, we drag the fish in the seine. When they are condensed in one part, then we have a team which scoops the fish from the seine net, then they transfer them to the white containers that already have ice. Ice helps in gently killing the fish and remaining at the right temperature that cannot allow any bacterial growth in the fish, so that our fish can remain very fresh. Then after putting them in the white containers and we know the fish are now dead, we scoop them and in the baskets, and these baskets are taken to the weighing scales, where we have a technician that is responsible for weighing every basket that is taken out and is transferred to the customer. So that's how basically our harvesting moves on. Here we use seining net, we use baskets, we use weighing scales, and all this process is done gently. Like I already told you, we train our staff very well to know how to handle all these processes very well, to reduce any mortalities and any casualties during these processes. Okay, harvesting, it depends on the customer. If the order is big, you can find we can harvest a cage at once, but when the order is small, we can harvest the cage in batches. And this is where our team they show the skills where we cannot have any mortalities or any casualties in the remaining fish. Thank you. You very well saw how we do our harvest, and you can really find that our fish are really fresh. We just get it from the cage when it is still fresh, and this is the fish that we give the customers. So first of all, we maintain our quality and we sell a very premium product, that is the fresh fish. And our main customers, these are outside buyers from Busia, Kenya, Rwanda, where they pack the fish in the ice in insulated vehicles and they transfer them to the region, that is Kenya, Rwanda, like I also told you. Also another thing, we also have our shops where we sell the fish to the communities around, because first of all, the aim of having such a business here is to make sure that the people can have the right nutrition and they can feed on a high protein feed. So we feel very happy when we have a shop near in the village and these people can be able to buy fish at a very cheapest price and they can be able to feed all their families with the fish. And our price, we find ourselves to be competitive in the market, because we are not the only fish farmers. There are also many competitors outside. But like I already told you, you can see our product, it is really fresh and premium. That keeps us up at the bar. And also another thing, and many of our clients have really testified that our fish is really quite unique when it comes to the taste. Many people have this mentality of that fish that is grown in the cages or in the ponds, they are tasteless. But you guys also, by the end of the day, you also testify after eating on our fish that our fish is quite unique when it comes to the tasting, because we did some experiments. We bought some fish from the landing site and also we got our fish and we just mixed them. We gave them to our customers to differentiate. But the good thing, they were not able to say that this fish is not tasting or this one is testing. So that shows that really we are producing a high quality fish and it keeps us competitive in the market. So I was telling you more about the water quality and what is involved in maintaining our water quality to be good. So first of all, I talked about we train our feeders on how to do proper feeding of the fish and when to know when to feed the fish and how much to feed the fish. Because if you're not more careful about this, that's where we have a lot of feed wasted and this will cost you in the production expenses. So if a lot of feeds are wasted, actually they also affect the water quality in a way that they encourage the algal bloom growth. And these algae, during the day when there is a sunshine, they will produce the oxygen and consume the carbon dioxide in the water, which is also good. But at night, when there is no sunshine, these algal blooms, they will use the oxygen that is supposed to be used by the fish for respiration, and they will use themselves. And in the end, you will find you have no oxygen in the pond. Then the fish will start gasping and you start seeing mortalities. So that's why we bring in these paddle wheels to supplement on the oxygen adding in the pond. So at night, we run in the paddle wheels to make sure that we fully have the oxygen into the ponds, and also besides that, we make sure that our feeders are well trained on how to feed the fish and when to feed the fish, and also to feed the fish by response. Thank you.